The emergency beacon pierced through the Galactic Coalition's monitoring systems at 0347 hours. Originating from Outpost Kepler 442b, Commander Tharks's four eye stalks swiveled toward the display, his chitinous plates clicking in concern. Human settlements rarely sent distress signals. They were stubbornly self-reliant, often to a fault. Medical emergency, his communications officer reported, mandibles trembling. Human caretaker. Critical condition. Tharks felt his blood chill. If the humans were asking for help, something had gone terribly wrong. Iris had felt the weakness creeping through her limbs for hours, but she'd pushed through. The Vorlon cubs, 12 of them, no older than their species equivalent of 5 human years, needed her. Their parents were stationed 3 systems away on a diplomatic mission, trusting the human caretaker program that had become legendary across the coalition. Humans, it turned out, had an inexplicable gift for nurturing alien young. Something about their pack-bonding instincts, their patience, their inability to see a child suffer without intervening. Iris had raised Vorlon, Crixian, and even the notoriously difficult Xanthari offspring. She was the best. But right now, her body was failing her. She'd made it to the doorway of the habitat's medical wing before her legs gave out. The world tilted, colors bleeding into one another as her vision tunneled. The last thing she heard before darkness claimed her was a high-pitched chirp of alarm. Milo's voice, terrified and young. Milo stood frozen for exactly 2.3 seconds, his downy fur standing on end, his 3-fingered hands trembling. Iris wasn't moving. The human who sang to them, who invented games, who held them when they missed their parents, she was crumpled on the floor like a broken toy. The other cubs gathered around, their bioluminescent patches flickering in distress patterns. Is she sleeping? Whispered Kara, the smallest. No, Milo said, his voice steadier than he felt. He was the oldest, barely 7 in human years, but the equivalent of a Vorlon adolescent. She's sick. Very sick. He'd watched Iris operate the medical scanner dozens of times when one of them got hurt. The big machine in the medical bay, the one that was almost as tall as Iris herself and mounted on a wheeled platform. It could diagnose anything, she told them. It could save lives. But it was 20 meters away, through 2 corridors, and Iris was here, breathing too shallow, her skin the wrong color. Milo made a decision that would later be studied in coalition leadership academies. Kara, Jock, stay with Iris. Talk to her. Humans like voices. He turned to the others. Everyone else, come with me. The medical scanner weighed approximately 340 kilograms. It was designed to be moved by anti-grav sleds or adult-strength mechanical assistants. The warning labels were written in 15 languages, all stating clearly, do not attempt manual transport. 10 Vorlon cubs, the oldest weighing 23 kilograms, stared up at it. We can't, said Fex, his ear fans drooping. We have to, Milo replied. He grabbed one corner of the wheeled platform, his tiny muscles straining. Iris would do it for us. You know she would. That was the truth that moved them. Every cub in that room had experienced Iris's fierce protectiveness. She'd once carried Kara 5 kilometers through a storm when the youngling had wandered off. She'd sat up for 3 nights straight when Jax had the fever sickness, singing human lullabies in a voice rough with exhaustion. Humans didn't abandon their pack, neither would they. 10 pairs of small hands gripped the platform. They pulled. At first, nothing happened. The scanner was simply too massive, too heavy, too impossible. But then Milo remembered something Iris had taught them about human history, about pyramids and cathedrals, about what determination could accomplish. Together, he commanded. On 3, 1.2, 3. The platform moved. Just centimeters at first, but it moved. They pulled it through the doorway, the wheels finally catching and rolling. Through the first corridor, their small bodies straining, their breathing harsh. Fex's hands were bleeding from the effort. Kara had rejoined them, her voice carrying back to Iris with stories and songs. Through the second corridor, the platform struck a doorframe, and they had to angle it. Problem-solving on the fly with minds that wouldn't fully mature for years but were sharp with desperate love. 20 meters. It might as well have been 20 kilometers. But inch by agonizing inch, they hauled humanity's promise toward humanity's protector. When Commander Tharks's medical team arrived 17 minutes later, they found a scene that would be captured in holographic detail for posterity. Iris lay on the floor, the massive medical scanner positioned beside her, its diagnostic beams already running. 10 Vorlon cubs had collapsed around her in exhaustion, their small chests heaving, hands bleeding, fur matted with sweat. But the scanner's emergency protocols had activated. It was administering treatment. Severe anaphylactic shock, the medical AI reported. Response to non-native protein, treatment initiated. Patient stable. Milo, barely conscious, had one small hand resting on Iris's arm. "We got it," he whispered. "We got the scanner." Tharks had commanded relief operations on 17 worlds. He'd seen soldiers carry wounded companions across battlefields, had witnessed acts of valor that earned the highest honors. But this children moving a machine that should have been impossible for them to budge, this was something else entirely. "Why didn't you just use the CUM system?" his medical officer asked, bewildered. "You could have called for help." Milo's eyes, huge and dark, met the commander's. "Humans don't wait for help when family is dying. They act," Iris taught us. The report that reached the Coalition Council 3 days later was clinical in its language. But the implications shook diplomatic circles. The human capacity for inspiring loyalty, for instilling their particular brand of stubborn determination, wasn't just affecting adults. Human caretakers were fundamentally altering how alien children thought about impossible problems. They were teaching an entire generation that love meant action. That family meant you moved mountains or medical scanners, regardless of whether the physics said you could. Iris recovered fully. When she woke, surrounded by cubs who refused to leave her side, Milo explained what they'd done with a mixture of pride and sheepishness. She pulled them all close, her eyes wet with tears that the cubs now understood meant strong emotion, not sadness. "You beautiful, brilliant, impossible children," she whispered. "You moved the whole damn thing?" "You would have done it for us," Milo said simply. "In a heartbeat," Iris agreed. "Every single time." And that, the Coalition observers noted, was perhaps the most human thing of all and the most dangerous gift humanity could give the galaxy. The absolute certainty that someone would move mountains for you and the bone-deep knowledge that you would do the same for them. The cubs had learned their lesson well.